is used across data-intensive applications. Why is that? Because it is going to different databases across heterogeneous databases, systems, and it is getting you the best possible answers for you to decide and to make your decision at the correct moment. Apart from these data-intensive applications, there are mission-critical applications. NASA, my dear friends, NASA is using mobile agents. And most importantly, it is a mobility factor and nothing else which has allowed it to take this decision. Missions to the moon, to Mars are being planned using mobile agents. And why is that? That is just because of mobility. NASA has invested millions and billions of dollars into these projects and it is dependent on mobile agents. And that is because mobility is a key factor, my dear friends. I repeat to you again and again that mobility is indeed a key factor. If we look at one of the projects, the Stormcast project, which was initiated in 1994. This is a glowing, if not a brilliant example in which mobile agents, and I repeat again, mobility has proved that no other application can do this. The Stormcast project uses Tacoma agents. It is used for weather monitoring in remote locations in the Arctic Circle. What would you say in such a position where there is no network connectivity or bandwidth is of a premium? Would you say that we should set up a client and server technology to give weather reports to these remote locations? Or I think my worthy opponents will say, why not send a postman with the data, weather reports every day and let him go and deliver it to these Arctic circles? No, my dear friends, no, it is not possible. And mobile agents, and the most importantly, the mobility factor that is what has influenced it over here. I move on to another application in which the Office of US Naval Research has invested $11 million, I repeat again, $11 million over a period of 5 years, and it is the Minuteman project that I am talking about. Yes, my dear friends, this project is aimed at developing scenarios in which better defense strategies for the country and for people can be planned without putting human life into risk. In this project, there are unmanned aerial vehicles and unmanned ground vehicles, and mobile agents are used to coordinate between these different applications. I'm sure a few among you will be skeptical and they will say that what is there of security? But my dear friends, let me tell you that the security part has been taken care of in many ways. There is the Fraunhofer Computer Research Graphics Institute, which has come up with a product called Information Armor, and this product is being used by the Air Force Department of the US Army, and it is being used to protect mobile agents when they are working at different remote applications. Apart from this, my dear friends, I'm sure all of you in this audience are using NetBank in some way of in your transactions. NetBank is protected by SSL, it is protected using digital signatures and whatnot. My dear friends, if you believe that your NetBank is secure, you will have to believe that mobile agents are also secure because they are based on the same technology.
1 minute.
They are based on that same technology and they give you the same level of comfort and security. Apart from this, there are many different applications and many different ways in which you can protect and make your agents secure. There is no such thing as having an unsecured application working in today's world. The amount of figures and the number of millions of dollars which have been pumped into these various other projects, I could speak to you for hours and hours on this, but I will not. But yes, these just go to prove one thing, that mobile agents, and most importantly, mobility is a key factor in determining the success of applications when they are working at remote locations and in places where database connectivity is a problem. I end in the words of Pico, who has said that code mobility is a new way to look at how you structure an application. You're thinking in a different way from mainstream distributed computing, and that's the power. The power is not in the technology, my dear friends, it's in the architecture. And it is for us to open our eyes and to realize this power and to harness it to develop a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Respected moderators, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this debate. The issue in focus today is whether mobility is an important and necessary attribute of software agents. Well, if it wasn't, I wouldn't be here talking about it, and even my friends wouldn't be here listening to us talking about it. Earlier on, my teammate Rito pointed out how mobility in software agents has enhanced the performance of data-intensive applications, and he demonstrated this clearly with very good examples. And John, on the other hand, spoke about how mobile agents are helping improve mission-critical applications. And he also gave a very good example of net banking to show that the security in mobile agents is as good, if not better, than the security in other contemporary technologies. Another important point that John brought out in his talk was that the government organizations and research organizations such as NASA, CSIRO, and education institutions like our very own Monash University are investing so much time, energy, effort into researching in the field of mobile agent technology. Do you think, let me ask my opponents a very simple question, do you think that the scientists at CSIRO, the scientists at NASA, and the other researchers would invest so much time, effort, and energy into something that was not useful and important? No, my friends. I think the answer is very clear. It is important. And I'd like to add one more thing. While initially the field of mobile agent technology was confined to the area of research and implementation, today it is moving on into the commercial arena. Today we do have several commercially available mobile agent toolkits. People and companies are investing money, time, and effort in producing software products, in creating software products, and putting them up in the market. Now, would these people be doing so if they thought that it was not useful? This list shows some of the commercially available mobile agent toolkits that are available in the market today. And this list, my friend, is growing. Now, another thing that I'd like to talk about today is that initially research was focused on achieving mobility in software agents. Now, we all know that mobile agents exist. Mobile agents are possible to create. What would the next logical step be? The next logical step would be to integrate this mobility with the BDI architecture. The list on the slide shows several such mobile BDI architectures. And one thing that I'd like to point out at this point is that currently in Monash, there's a project underway which is called the Karma project. And this project aims at integrating mobility of the agents with the BDI architecture. Now, the purpose behind this project is to create potential solutions, to provide potential solutions for offering sophisticated services in resource-constrained environments such as mobile devices. Thus, I think it is very clear that agent mobility is an important and useful attribute, and it is being widely accepted in the computing world. Therefore, my advice to my opponents would be to shed their ignorance, to accept the facts for what they are, and not to argue against them. I'd like to wind up at this point by saying once again that mobility is an important and very useful feature in software agents. And I'd like to pass on the baton to Sonali, who I'm sure is ready to have a go at the opponents. Thank you very much.
Right. So now we've had several arguments and in favor of the motion. Thanks to Lito, John, and Mohan. I'd probably do the last thing here, which is to sum up. Mohan has nicely led me on to mobile ubiquitous applications. This is a new emerging, exciting paradigm in computing. And this is really the world of small devices, mobile phones, embedded devices, computing sort of everywhere, anywhere, anytime, every time. And in such an environment, mobile agents provide a particularly suitable solution. What happens when you have a small device and this has limited resources and you are walking across from place to place or moving where you go through phases of connection and disconnection? So what you really have is basically, let's assume you're trying to book a movie ticket. And let's assume you're going to be using traditional technology such as connecting using some kind of wireless network to the web, and you're trying to book your movie ticket. And then you suddenly move from this building to the next, and you go through a phase where you're no longer connected. So then what happens is when you get to the other end, you need to restart your session, because you really are going through a traditional client-server TCP/IP web-based connection. Now, what you could do if you had mobile agents in this context would be to have your agent migrate when you are in an unreliable connection, to get your agent to migrate to a server which is on a fixed network and do the task for you. Now, the next thing that they will immediately throw at me is, why do you need an agent to move for that? You can have a computational entity on your iPad You can have another computational entity on a fixed network, and you can get this entity to talk to that entity and tell it to make your book your movie ticket that way. Now what they're really suggesting is, instead of having one piece of software that is autonomous, that is mobile, and can do the task for you, instead we should have two pieces of software. We should focus on designing the communication protocols between those pieces of software. So let's not have a simple solution. Let's go for the complex option. Let's go for a complex design option here. Okay? So this really is the benefit of mobile agent technology. In summary, we have seen that when we have data-intensive applications, and this is my own experience, I have worked in this area, where we have distributed data-intensive applications, we have evidence of performance in terms of experimental evaluation, not just in one application area, but in several, that have shown that mobile agents or mobile agents coupled with traditional technologies always give you better performance than using any other client-server option. We have seen that in mission-critical applications where you have sensor networks working in inhospitable domains, where you want the software to be able to reconfigure and deal with changing environmental conditions, where you have inhospitable terrain where human beings cannot actually get there, having the mobility attribute of agency can give you far more power than not having that particular